Hello, 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 everyone. This is Renza of Za'Nee Entertainment, as well as the Parade of Quartets, the longest running gospel television show in the country, right here in Augusta, Georgia. And on the line, I have with me Abdul Williams, who is the writer of the New Edition series. Mr. Abdul, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, all is well. All is well. It is such a pleasure to be able to have the opportunity to interview you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So tell us a little bit about who Abdul Williams is.
Okay. I am a screenwriter, primarily work in film, but I'm kind of branching in more to TV. New Edition Story was the first TV project that I've done. I wrote a movie called Lottery Ticket that came out a few years back in 2010. I've also written an animated movie that's completely different from either of those things called Surf's Up 2 that just came out on video on demand and DVD. And I've been working in the industry for over 20 years.
Wow, that is awesome. That is amazing. So tell us, how did this opportunity come about for you to be able to do the New Edition series?
It started because the executive producer, Jesse Collins, called me in the summer of 2006. We had mutual friends. He had read something of mine that he thought he was set in the music industry. He thought maybe I might have the right voice for this. He called me and asked me if I had any interest in writing a movie about New Edition. I said immediately that I did.
Okay.
And then we went from there. We didn't have it set up anywhere. We didn't have any financing, anything like that. But he had a relationship with the guy. Jesse produces a lot of award shows, BET Awards, Grammy Awards, other things. And he had a relationship with the New Edition members, and they wanted to tell their story. So for whatever reason, he thought I was the right writer. God bless him for that.
That is amazing.
And we went from there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And upon doing a little bit of investigating, I saw that you mentioned that it actually took 10 years. It was a 10-year process to put this amazing show together. Tell us what that was like.
Well, like I say, Jesse called me in 2006, and it started with once we were on the same wavelength in terms of like what we wanted this to be, and then it was a matter of getting interviews with the members themselves and getting them to open up to me and tell me their story and their truth, which they all did. All 7 really, including Brooke Payne. And it took a series of interviews. It wasn't just like a one-time shot. I spoke with them all multiple times over the years, and not just them. It was also about interviewing other people, many of whom appear in the movie, and some of whom don't, who are all different parts of their lives. Everybody from family members, bodyguards, record execs, former managers, on and on and on, to really get a whole picture. And I had a wealth of material. I had, notebooks and notebooks and notebooks full of stuff. And then it was about how do I put all this together? And Jesse and I worked hand in hand in that to craft this, all these different, voices into one story.
Right. Okay. And so basically, all the members of New Edition were pretty involved with the making of this movie. Okay. Yes, that's definitely. It was an amazing movie.
On it too.
Say that one more time.
They're all producers on it as well.
Wow, that is awesome. So what was it like working with the kids, the youngsters who played?
It was so much fun. Their energy is infectious, and they just seemed like they never got tired.
Wow.
Which was great because we worked them. We put them through a lot. All the cast members, the kids and the adults, had to go to essentially what we call the New Edition boot camp.
Okay.
Where they had to work with Brooke Payne. The real Brooke Payne came on. In addition to being a producer on the movie, he was also our choreographer. Him and his assistant, a great guy named Leon Lee, who have been with the group for years and years. And all the original choreography, they taught it to our cast members. And so the kids had to learn it too. In addition to that, like all kid actors, it was school year, so they had to have tutors. So they had, super full days in addition to learning their lines, learning choreography, and all of our cast members did their own singing.
Oh, wow.
So it was just, it was, they had to be a triple threat. They had to be able to sing, dance, and primarily they had to be able to act. I'm sorry, my daughter is hold on, boo, I got my daughter. Sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
Yeah, so they had to do, so we put so much on them. And so when they weren't in tutoring session, when they weren't working with the director on lines, when they weren't doing their choreography, they had to go to the studio and record. And we were so fortunate that we had Kenny Babyface Edmonds was our music supervisor along with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and they re-recorded all the songs.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
So the guys had to go sing for these legendary music producers, and it was just, I was in awe of how much work this cast put in addition to becoming their characters. And, we knew that it was going to be a big challenge for them, and they all just stepped right into it. I couldn't be more proud.
Oh, yes. Well, it definitely showed on the big screen. And I tell you what, my favorite part, and everything was my favorite, but my favorite part, when you transitioned in the production from, you took the guys from boys to men right before our very eyes. It was so amazing to me, and you did it while they were performing. So my question to you was, from one writer to another, the moment that it hit you to how you were going to transform them from boys to men, and of course on stage.
I have to give all credit to our director, Chris Robinson, on that one.
Oh my God.
Chris was the one that came up with that idea, because initially, I was going with the model of Jackson's An American Dream, right? When they had the age stuff. So the way they did it was like you'd see little Michael, and then like maybe the next night a big Michael would be there, and then you just kind of know, like, if they're calling him out, so it's like if you're using a different actor for the audience, like, okay, I'll buy in with that, right? But Chris was like, he had it in his mind, and he was kind of pitching it to us. He actually pitched, if you guys remember the Michael Jackson Black or White video, remember that with Faith More? Mm-hmm. So he was like, I would love to do something like that. And of course, our line producer, Valerie Sharp, who was excellent and made miracles happen for us, but she also had to be conscious of the budget and how much money we had. So when he pitches that, she was like, I don't know what you're smoking, but we don't have the money for that. And he just kept fighting for it and kept fighting for it. Like, I know this will work. And so they eventually they gave in, and what we got is what's turned out to be one of the more iconic moments from the movie.
I like to completely lost it. I was on the edge of my. I was like, yes. It was so amazing to me. I said, whoever.
When I saw the finished product, I was like, wow.
Exactly, and that was my next question. What was it like to actually see it for the first time? I know the whole cast was just. It was just amazing to me. So,
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Renza. Well, it was. It was unlike a lot of projects. Usually when you write something, you do all your work in development, and then writing the script and selling it, getting it set up, and then all through pre-production. And then most of the time, you're done. You hand it off to the director. You hand it off to the production team, and they just call you if they need you. But on this one, I was fortunate enough that they really kept me involved. So I was there on set every day, but not just chilling. It was constant rewrites. Like, there would be something would come up and be like, we got to change this, or this location, or this and that, or whatever. So I had to really, grind it out. And so I was watching it all unfold and all be shot. Then, once it was done and we wrapped, they go into post-production, they edit it, and then they were, sending me cuts of that as well. So I got to see, like, the really rough cut, and then every subsequent one, you'd see was, like, they fine-tune this, they would change the sequence of this, they would trim this scene down a little bit, we had songs that we wanted to use, and sometimes people would give you clearance and you could use it, and sometimes not. You got to pick another song,
I understand.
All this kind of stuff. But I got to see the progression of it.
Right.
But I didn't get to see the absolute finished product until really it aired. Like, when we did screenings, we would show night one all the time. But when it aired, and it was me, the cast, everybody, other than Chris and Jesse and the editors or whatever, they obviously saw it, and BET did. But when we watched it, we did these watch parties, and we were all together in the same room, so we were all just watching it in real time and just bugging out.
Oh, you had to be. And I tell you what,
Yeah.
listen, it was so amazing to me, but I tell you another brilliant, and I'm not going to keep you on the phone all night, but it's just so much. But another brilliant part for me was when you all chose to do the entire Can You Stand the Rain in the studio session. I said, because I kept thinking, oh God, they're gonna cut it. They're gonna cut it right here. They're gonna wait for another scene. And then the song just kept going and kept going. It was just so brilliantly put together. I just have to give you kudos for that.
That's because BET gave us the time to really let the story breathe.
Yes.
When we initially sold it way back in 2007, we sold it to a company called Paramount Vantage, which was a subset of Paramount Studios. And initially, we wanted this to be a 2-hour movie that would go in theaters. That's what we sold it as. A long story of why that didn't happen, but it didn't. And they ran into some problems or whatever. So that's one of the reasons why it took 10 years to do, is because, we had the project there and then we had to get it out or whatever. But BET, early on, Stephen Hill, the president of programming there, he's a New Edition super fan, and he was like, I want this to be 3 nights, 6 hours, 2 hours each night. So when I heard that, then I was like, okay, I can put all this stuff back in the script that I had cut for time. And what it also meant was we could let the musical numbers really breathe and just show it and make you feel like you were at a New Edition show or you were watching that favorite video that you remember or, all that kind of stuff. And it really helped us out. So I have to thank BET for giving us the time, because most biopics, you don't get that kind of time, and so you have to really, you can only pick a few songs, and then of those songs, you can only show maybe a minute, 30 seconds, you know what I mean? But we were allowed to really let it flow.
Well, it was well worth it. It was well worth the 10 years. And once again, like I said, I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And tell us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, tell us what's up next for Abdul Williams.
I'm busy right now. I have a feature project that I'm trying to do at Warner Brothers, an original idea of mine. I also have a TV show pitch that I'm going to be taking out for a series. I'm prepping it with a producer who's really great named Will Packer, who's done all kinds of movies and shows that you love, Think Like a Man, Ride Along and all that. But his company is helping me out get that. I can't really tell you what they're about yet because it's a little premature.
Okay.
But, those, and then there's a few other, now it's all of a sudden, all of us connected to the movie are getting a lot of offers for a whole lot of things. So I'm sifting through that as well. But my main things are, I would like to fill 217 with a couple of these ideas that I've had in my pocket for a long time, and now I might get a window to do them.
Look at God. Well, thank you so much.
Indeed.
Yes, thank you so much. And just keep up the good work. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to encourage everybody to follow you. And I'm excited about what you have coming up next.
I very much appreciate it, Renza. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.